Hi, and welcome back to the Up Zone, where we make understanding politics simple. We are your two hosts, Mr. Elmer Floyd, former House Representative for the 43rd District in the state of North Carolina, and myself, Tisha S. Waddell, former City Council member for the 3rd District in the city of Fayetteville and former candidate for mayor. Mr. Floyd, how goes all?
Well, good, Chief. That's all I'm gonna say. Good.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Mr.
I'm
Floyd,
not
I
gonna
am
talk about
rested.
my creditors. I'm not talking about my creditors. I'm just too.
You don't owe anybody any money, sir. I tell you that every week. I tell the people, I need the people to know, don't buy the hype. Don't buy the hype. Mr. Floyd, I am rested, I have recuperated, and I am ready to go today. I'm excited about our show today. We have some really great information. And Mr. Floyd, I don't know if you noticed this or not over the last couple of months, but I have been trying to be very um, vague in descriptions as we've talked about things that have been going on politically, because I did not ever want to give the appearance that I was just trying to tear other people down so that I could win. But now since the primary election is over. And let me say this, Mr. Floyd, I want to thank you for all of your assistance. I want to thank my husband for all of his assistance. I want to thank all my friends, all my family. I want to thank all the people who stood with me, all 996 people who cast a ballot for me. And I know that sounds like a small number in response to how many voters there are, but let me tell y'all something. We did something that was a huge feat. And that is, we started a campaign, Floyd, the last day of filing. Nobody knew anything. The last day of filing, we started a campaign. We ran a clean campaign. We kept our mouth shut when the wolves roared at us, and we just did our thing. So thank you, everybody who helped us to do our thing. And we'll talk more about that later. But Mr. Floyd, today is going to be a good show because now I can talk about stuff. I can talk about it now.
Well,
So,
I
but
think.
before we get into anything, let's talk about our announcements because we have some very specific announcements that we want to make. Go ahead, Mr. Floyd.
Well, we do is the 20. Their anniversary. It's around, I think it's 24th or 25th. So if you need to get some information, call 483 6111 to get more information and more up to date information about the program. This coming weekend, Madam White, is
Yes, sir.
the Fayetteville State University homecoming. And
Okay.
when you see all of your friends that you have not seen in many, many years. But bear in mind, for those persons who want to attend the parade has been changed from Wilson Road to downtown, those persons who want to enter the football game must have a player badge.
So
So
they are
that's,
implementing the clear bag policy that a lot of
yeah,
stadiums use.
yes.
Okay.
So if you want to attend, please, 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 show the community that you support the Fayetteville State University. So the other announcement, I'm just gonna hold those because I want people to really concentrate and participate in showing Fayetteville State that they are supporters of the university.
Well, Mr. Floyd, before we hold all announcements, can we just, because the 15th ends the celebratory period for Hispanic Heritage Month, can we just give a shout out to all of our brothers and sisters that are of Hispanic heritage and just say, hey, we celebrate with you this month. And I believe that heritage should be celebrated all year long because we are all equal contributors in this conglomerate that we call the world. And so,
True.
but as the United States has designated that this is the period of time that we celebrate Hispanic heritage, we just at Upzone want to say, hey, we stand with you. Hola, como está? And we love you, the whole 9 yards.
Well, and please bear in mind we have a large Hispanic population here
We sure
in
do.
Campbell
We sure
County,
do.
and really in the eastern part of the state. I'm speaking about over in the Chapman Chapel Hill, by Greensboro, Santa area. There's a large Hispanic population. So thank you for uh, making that announcement. Although I omitted it, but I did have it.
No, you
You
wrote it
know,
down. You're the one who brought it to my attention. So,
but I was
so thank you for
concentrating on
that.
Fairfield State. So but that's
Absolutely. Let's
this
get to
week.
it.
You know, I have been trying to say to you for Genesis how the voting process take place here in Common
Yes.
County. And I hope from this election that you saw, what I was talking about and trying to share with you over the years that we have been together. But,
So,
you
Mr.
know,
Floyd, let's talk about it. Let's just talk about it. So, I always remain very optimistic. I want to believe that the tides are always changing. I always want to think that people are paying attention and they're getting it because I am. I'm paying attention, and so I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Mr. Floyd, this election definitely proved that people are not paying attention. It definitely proved that. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm not trying to pop my collar. I'm telling you what I've heard back as feedback from this community. Um, we had multiple forums. So one of two things is true. I recently took a speech class as a part of my bachelor's degree that I'm working towards, and yay me, I'm super excited. But one of the things that I recently learned in that class was when it comes to messaging, there has to be either messaging that connects with constituents or messaging that confirms what they believe, right? So while I know that I am very good at making messaging that connects with constituents, it is clear based upon the outcome of this election that they don't believe that these things are problems. So our city does not believe that we have an ethics problem. Our city believes that we are already fully transparent. And our city believes that their government is already held accountable because, and let me say, I'll say that the people who actually participated in the primary believe that because overwhelmingly, they selected two candidates who have been a part of the transparency, ethics, and accountability issue in our community. They had eight other choices, and I recognize that there was a fracture or a fragmenting of the vote, but they had eight other choices, and overwhelmingly they selected what one of the candidates, Freddie De La Cruz, consistently called status quo. And so that says to me, Mr. Floyd, that either they're not paying attention and they're not aware of what's going on, or they don't care about what's going on.
well, T, let me say this to you. Now, I don't, some people, when I talk with them, and now bear in mind that we have 130,000 plus registered voters here in Cobb
Right.
County, and a little over 10% of that population voted. Okay. So, I asked you how many forms did you
So
participate
many,
in?
so many.
Okay.
And Mr. Floyd, overwhelmingly at each of those forums, when I walked away, I was always met with, "You killed that. You did such a great job. You articulated the points well. You had a plan. You got a like all the checked all the boxes, but that did not translate into votes." And so again, either people are not watching these forums, and they're not because we're getting questions, Floyd, that demonstrate that these people are not even tuned in to what's being talked about.
Well, see, that because I read one of the questionnaire and it
And
asked
let me say this, and
councilmen.
if I'm and Floyd, and if I'm talking, if anybody's getting offended at me saying these people, you might be the people I'm talking about because you people who were asking us questions that had already been answered or who did not have any clue about what was going on were not tuned into the places that you needed to be tuned into to be getting this information to really be able to properly vet these candidates. My apologies, Mr. Floyd, for interrupting you, but I wanted to
Yeah.
clarify who you people are. Go ahead, sir.
Now, my question was that how can you ask a person that's running, as an example, how can you ask a person that's running for the city council, how do they look at E. Smith and the process of building E. Smith? The city has no responsibility towards the building of any public school. And I
Right.
hope
And
they
our
don't take that
opinion,
pass
well,
up. I
right.
hope
And
that,
our opinion, even though we may have a very valid opinion, our opinion doesn't matter because we don't get a vote. So we can say stuff. And I remember, Floyd, when I was on council, there would be other governing bodies who would be pissed off about the fact that our current mayor, Mitch Colvin, would be standing up and talking about what they were working on, because it's an overlap. Like it's an imposition. You don't need other governing bodies telling you how to do your work, because they were not elected to do that. They, as constituents, can come and speak to you, but they should not be standing up and having some soundbite moment about what they think you're doing. Now, let me also say this: not just the forums, Floyd. Talk about these questionnaires, because we were asked a million questions. I was asked questions online. I was asked questions in person. I was emailed questions. If I got as many votes as questions I answered, I
Well,
easily would have topped Kathy Jensen. Easily. So I
well,
know people are
well,
just not, it's not transitioning.
well, what people are doing is to get name recognition in having these forms. Okay. But you have some people that ran
Who
for
don't even
office
show up.
don't even show up. They
Mr.
they
Floyd,
base
Brenda McNair and Kathy Griggs, I'm going to use them as my examples. And I know you don't call names, but I love to call a good name. So let me say this: Brenda McNair didn't show up at any of the forums that I attended. And I went to the forums of the candidates because I wanted to make sure that I was tuned in to who they are, so that if I was fortunate enough to go to work with them, I already was aware of where they're coming from. She wasn't anywhere. She didn't show up at any of the forums, but she got over 800 votes. And the woman who showed up at all of the forums and answered all of the questions and did a lot of the work got less than 200 votes. Like that math ain't mathing. So I say to you, city of Fayetteville, and I love this city, but right now I don't really like the way y'all are handling politics, because y'all are just going in there and just picking who you think is cute, or who you know, or you're listening when you wait until you get up to the polls and you're listening to the lies that poll workers who are being paid to promote their candidate are telling you, and making your decision based off of that. And you are the problem.
well,
It's not the
Tiffany.
candidates. It's not the mayor. It's not the mayor pro tem. It's not the candidates. The voters are the problem, because they are making uninformed decisions with multi millions of tax dollars on the line where these decisions are concerned. It's crazy.
Well, you know, George Bruce said it that off-year election really helps the income because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
bring out their base, and their base is based on recognition.
yeah.
They hear the name, but I was, as I move around in the city, see, I go to places that perhaps some of you all don't go to, like the Salvation Army, Goodwill Store, and any of these things, organizations. So I can save some money. And you know what some of the people ask me? Is there an election? Okay.
See, but that's the problem
Is
that
there
that's the problem we're
is
having.
there an election? Now, with all of these campaign signs on every corner that you go on, something will raise a flag that something is going on or about to happen.
But we're
So when you
apathetic at this point. We're apathetic. And I blamed, and Mr. Floyd, I was like, again, like I said, I was optimistic. I blamed the apathy on a lack of qualified choices. But in this election cycle, everybody has somebody to pick from. There was a representation on that panel for everybody in this community. You had, listen, and again, I can say names now because I don't give free advertisement if we're seeking the same job. I'm not going to talk about people that are seeking the same job as me. Well, let's talk about them now. You had Nolly Harris Smith. Nolly Harris Smith spoke to a particular type of voter. You had Clifton Johnson, who spoke to a particular type of voter. You had John Ashford, who spoke to a particular type. We were all so vastly different. You had Mario Benavente, who spoke to a different type of voter. You had me. You had Kathy. You had Mitch. But overwhelmingly, the city of Fayetteville picked the same coin, just different sides of it. Because Mitch and Kathy are the same coin. They're just different sides of the same coin. If you look at their
uh,
policies, they're in lockstep. So it's like they said, we want same, and we want similar and same. Well, that's all we want this year,
well,
similar and same.
well, you know when. when you look at it and you look at people look at George Priest as the pillar of mega in our community. And George mentioned that the makeup between the 18 and the 40 plus is a huge, huge difference. So
Yeah.
it means that Kathy is going to have to really, I don't, trying to find a word
She's not
to
gonna have
cook
to
it like
work
that.
that hard, Floyd, because Mitch didn't even want this. He only came in because let's talk about it now. There was a text thread that went around, and somebody has told me that somebody on in this podcast, I'm not gonna say who, somebody on this podcast has actually laid eyes on the text. Mitch got back in the race because he was sitting in the parking lot and saw me walk in. And it has been said and proven that he sent a text and asked, was that Tisha Waddell who just walked in? And asked, what did I file for? And when he found out that I filed for mayor, he waited until I left out and went and filed. Mitch came back in this race because we are battle buddies. We and not buddies, but we are iron sharpening iron. I would call it like that. He and I still believe that I am a formidable opponent for him, and I'll tell you why. The votes don't matter to me. That's not what tells the story. What tells the story is how your opponent deals with you in everyday life while you're running this race. Mr. Floyd, he came back in this race to make sure I didn't get it for whatever his motivation was. He had turned everything over to Kathy. I met with Kathy and had breakfast with her. Y'all know I don't keep secrets for people unless it's something that's secret supposed to be kept for. I met with Kathy. This is politics. We're gonna talk about it. I had breakfast with her as we were mid swing in this election. During the course of this breakfast, Kathy informed me because she's been telling everybody publicly that she would have still run for office because it was either that move up or move on. Remember, that's what she said. Well, Floyd, during this breakfast, she let me know that she had been offered the vice chair or vice chair of at NLC, which is a big deal. That's a big deal, Floyd. Is when you talk about the National League of Cities, that is all of the elected officials across the United States of America converging in one place to have conversations about policy and procedure. You understand what I'm saying? And about the elected culture. The fact that she was offered the second in command position with that board is a huge deal. Kathy said she turned it down because Mitch let her know he wasn't going to run for office. He decided to run for office and put her in a horrible position. She said, I would have taken that position. I would have stayed on council. I would have worked that position. And then I would have moved on when it was time. So he had assured her he wasn't going to run. So, Mr. Floyd, I don't know that Mitch is that invested in beating Kathy or really winning. I think he was more invested in making sure nobody else did. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I understand that, and what was said throughout the community, people talk out of both sides of their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
They, and one thing that I have learned in being in politics is that my community believe in what is said by the other zip code. What is said by the other zip code is gospel to us more than going to church on Sunday.
Hit it
If,
on the
if,
nose.
if you don't believe that, you ask the former, I mean, the chair of the county board of commission, wherein that a person that bought in $400 million and you vote him out. And you don't
Yeah.
have to ask me how I was treated, as it relates to to that as a tier one community. What we look at, we don't look at what delivery is. We look at how well we like you. We don't care
Mr.
whether or
Floyd,
not you deal with anything.
that part right
Okay.
there. Now, let me tell you
Let
what
me
I
give you an
have
example.
figured out. Go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I mean, this is something that I heard when I was in the restore, because I go by there because they have different little things that you probably can use.
Mm-hmm.
And the person approached me and said that a senator said that they were not going to watch NFL football anymore because of what the NFL did a couple of weeks ago. Now, what in the world does that comment mean? When a
I
senator
don't know,
said,
sir. I
now,
don't know, sir.
now remind you now, I mean, I'm looking at NFL. You think I'm gonna pay another $39 and just to watch football game on what is it, Prime, whatever that
Mr.
is.
Floyd.
I'm gonna pay an additional $39 to watch 16 football game total. I mean, now what? Now, I mean, what did that statement mean? I mean, you
I
will
don't
make
know,
a
but
statement. I
listen though,
mean,
but this is
but we
this is
buy
the
that.
we
We
buy
buy
it
that.
hook, line, and sinker. And I was so prepared to be optimistic. And I'm gonna tell you something, Floyd. I would have if Mario Benevente would have gotten into that second. I thought it was going to be either me and Mitch or Mario and Mitch. I know that this is exactly what George Bree said. It was a battle of the dollars because Kathy probably outspent everybody in this election cycle. But let me say this. So now there's a question going around. I'm so excited to be doing this podcast today. I've had to hold all this in. Mr. Floyd, now there's a conversation going around today about how do you pick the lesser of two evils, right? And so I'm getting ready to blow y'all's mind with what I'm going to say. And I know it's going to blow your mind because it almost choked me when I was writing it. But I want to share with you guys how I see this because I need for you guys to understand that we are on the verge of some really we're on the verge of some bad stuff because of how inattentive we are. So Floyd, the question has been being asked, who do we choose? Because if there's so much the same, how do we choose? And everybody keeps saying, well, we know what kind of mayor Mitch is going to be. We don't Let's give Kathy a shot. I'm a walk that back. And Kathy called me after this election and asked me if I would meet with her for breakfast. And I told her, just ask me what you want to ask me, because I'm pretty sure you want to ask me if I'll support you in this upcoming election. So just ask me what you want to ask me. And her response to me was, absolutely, that's what I want to ask you. And my response to her, almost verbatim, was, absolutely not. When I was on council, you did not support me. Kathy had an opportunity when all of this information came out about Bernhard Capital. She had an opportunity to be vocal and talk about what she saw. Not only did she have an opportunity to be vocal and talk about what she saw, as all of these things were happening to me, to Shaquila, to Yvonne, while we were on council, Kathy sat in her princess chair because it wasn't happening to her and did not do anything to help correct the culture of the abuse that we were experiencing at the hands of other people. If you can't help me, I can't help you. Period.
Well,
I'm not easily manipulated, Mr. Floyd. So here's what I'm saying to people who are asking me, and I'm going to read it so I don't make any mistakes. A person named John on Nextdoor said, who do we pick since they're all the same? I said, believe it or not, I'm about to blow y'all wigs back. I said, believe it or not, I think Colvin is the lesser of the two evils. And coming from me, that says a whole lot. And I'll explain. Jensen has deep ties, long roots, and familial political connections that have been used to enrich her family throughout the years. She's old Fayetteville and owns a significant portion of North Fayetteville. She's deeply connected to developers. In fact, many of the connections that Colvin has leveraged have likely been introduced by Jensen. Look at where the most significant commercial growth is happening in Fayetteville. I'm going to pause right there. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Floyd. What was the article we just read about the growth in Fayetteville? Where is the most significant commercial growth happening in Fayetteville?
on the northern side at this particular.
On the northern side. That is not by chance. Nothing happens by chance. It's happening on the north side. Why does this matter? It matters because landowners and commercial property owners, of which Jensen and her family are both, benefit vastly when commercial growth occurs near their property. While everyone else, Colvin included, is playing checkers, Jensen is playing the long game of chess. She also, for those of you who have not been watching the Upzone until today, owns a parking lot beside the courthouse where they tore up the parking area to build the Performing Arts Center, which, while she and her brother were both in office, was leased to the county. When I came on council, Ms. Jensen's piece of advice to me was follow the money. I would describe Colvin as a puppet and Jensen as the puppet master. So y'all take that and do whatever you want to do with it. Vote however you want to vote. But if you thought Mitch was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, let's you have to look at
You're
how
welcome,
we
Mr.
see,
Colvin. You're welcome, Mr. Colvin. You are
how
welcome,
we
Mr. Colvin.
you know how we see things, you know. And one thing that we don't want to do as minorities is to sit on various boards and commissions. By sitting on these various boards and commissions, you get a chance and an opportunity to have a vision about growth and where it is being located at. Okay.
Pause, 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 Mr. Floyd. Let's keep talking about it. Since we're talking about it, let's keep talking about it. It's not the people on the board that have the vision for growth. I'm going to tell you who has the vision for growth. Mr. Floyd, what are the major projects that we've seen happen in Fayetteville over the last 10 years? We saw the baseball stadium, Prince Charles Hotel. We've seen some economic development projects. We've also seen, Angela, I see your quote, he should be thankful, because y'all know I don't mix words when it comes to Mitch Colvin, because I don't respect him. I don't respect him. But in this instance, I'm telling the truth. I will always tell you the truth. Baseball stadium, Prince Charles Hotel, economic development, Civil War History and Reconstruction Center, and the Performing Arts Center, even though that's kind of been scratched, right? All 5 of those things, Mr. Floyd, originated with an organization, a group of people. Who were they called, Mr. Floyd? If you tell me you get a gold star today.
Was it Vision 25 or something like that?
Vision 2026.
Okay.
Vision
Okay.
2026. Vision 2026 was a group of citizens in the community. I'm going to tell y'all, I've been trying to tell y'all, but y'all don't listen. Maybe you'll hear me today. Vision 2026 was a group of high profile individuals made up of some developers, some attorneys, some accountants, some people, the who's who of our community. They got together and said, this is what we want to see. When they got together, Floyd, they understand how politics works.
Well,
Okay?
well,
Come on.
let me ask you a question then.
Mm-hmm.
Was Vision
I'm coming
26
right back to that. Don't go nowhere because I'm coming right
okay?
back to that. Go ahead.
Was Vision 26 had any growth for 301?
So if you recall, originally the baseball stadium was supposed to be situated at the end of the Murchison Road corridor.
Come on, take the cup up, Mount Water. Now you don't eat. Now come on.
I'm about to tell you
That
how I got moved. I'm finna tell you how I got moved, Mr. Floyd. I'm about to tell you how I got
is
moved.
that,
Now, this group of people, one of the people on that board was Ralph Huff. Ralph Huff, now this information came to me as a result of our former city attorney and our current city manager pulling me to the side and having conversations to get me up to snuff. This wasn't no gotcha conversation. It was just a Tisha, here's how we got here. Ralph Huff called every member of the city council into his office. I wasn't on council at this time because y'all know these kind of meetings don't move me. Called every member of the city council into his office, to include Larry Wright at the time, to include Mitch Colvin at the time, to include Kathy Jensen at the time. All of these members of council were called into individually, all to collectively, I don't know, into meetings with Mr. Huff, where he told them, y'all don't need to put that down at the end of this. And if you do that, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Now, I want y'all, we talk campaign finance reports. It's become a source of conversation now that Mr. Benavente has brought forward the fact that Mitch Colvin took $1,000, received $1,000 from Muhammad. Let's talk about why that's significant. Because Ralph Huff has been one of the largest contributors to financial campaigns to date. Well, why is that important? We just got finished talking about the fact that y'all are not showing up to the forums to hear what we're talking about. Y'all are not reading the information that's going out in the Observer or on City View Today. You guys are not looking at our Facebook posts or looking at our websites to see what we're really talking about. All you're responding to is name recognition. So money makes that happen. So when you have a Ralph Huff who is putting money into your campaign so you can drive name recognition, he gets a different level of access. And when he brings his wealthy friends who can do the same, they get a different level of access. We're not calling it pay to play. We're just saying this is how politics works. So, Mr. Floyd,
What?
let's go back to Vision 2026. They didn't just lobby the city council. Because if you think about the Civil War History and Reconstruction Center, they got a commitment from the council, they got a commitment from the county commissioners, and they got a commitment from their state legislators. If you look at all of the campaign finance reports and you look at the board of Vision 2026, I guarantee you that there are campaign contributions that have been made at each of those levels from the members of this board. You get change by organizing and influencing the people in those seats. The people in those seats are not the ones with the ideas. Kathy doesn't have an original idea in her head. She rides the coats of the, my phone rang, sorry about that. She rides the coattails of the Parks and Rec stuff. She didn't bring that to the table. Bobby Hurst talked about that. He brought that to the table. Bobby Hurst. I don't know who gave it to Bobby. I don't know because I haven't found that link. But the Vision 2026, the people who are on that board push for the Parks and Rec bond. Floyd, I'm telling you, if people think for 1 second that your city council is smart enough or tactful enough to come up with all of this, they're delusional. Vision 2026 has gotten everything done in this community that's been done over the last 10 years. Mitch cannot take credit for it, nor can Kathy. But that's not an issue. That's as it should be. Citizens, y'all get together, tell your board what you want them to do, and then hold them accountable to doing it.
Peace, that's, and I appreciate your words, but that's not going to happen because our community is not concerned about that. They're not concerned about the delivery. They just simply want to have you as one of your friends that I mentioned to you from time to
To
time.
get in, to fit
They just
in.
simply, that's all they want to
But
do.
y'all better remember Kathy's daddy was an elected official. Kathy's brother was an elected official. Kathy is an elected official. These are deep roots. And that's not a bad thing when you use your deep roots
No,
for the better good of the community. But when
but at
you see,
least, they are delivering to their
because the
support.
north side is popping, baby. My
Okay,
house is on the north side. I'm not
okay.
mad. But I'm just telling y'all, if you're on the west side, don't expect the same kind of results that you're getting on the north side. Don't expect it. You guys are going to get housing. You're not going to get. I'm just saying. So now let's shift because there's something else I want to tie into this. Mr. Floyd, I appreciate you letting me have this today. Thank you, because
Mm.
I've been holding all this in.
Now, but
Because
I have been
I
saying
want
to
the people to
you,
make a decision. Go ahead.
I have been saying to you, based upon my experience, okay,
Yeah.
based upon my experience as a
Yeah.
Democrat in the Democrat Party, what I experienced, and many
Mr.
people in
Floyd,
this
the same way
community,
how they, I'm sorry. Go ahead, baby. I'm sorry.
now the same people are how they treated me, you know, and you expect to see something different.
Yeah, I
I
did.
mean,
But we love, listen, and we love y'all people. This is not an indictment against y'all. I just need y'all to wake up. Wake up. You guys are
but
in a
teach
slumber
again,
that is killing our community. Wake up.
teach again. I say to you, I go back before you move on. What
Okay.
good is it for an NC senator to say that I'm no longer going to watch the NFL football game? What kind of comment is that?
No, I get it. But Mr. Floyd, check this
Okay.
out. The same way how we're suffering now without you and Kirk in Raleigh, because we are suffering. There's no money coming back to us. The
That
faucet has been turned off. We're suffering. So the
you can
same
forget
way
it.
how our community is suffering because of y'all being gone, this community is getting ready to suffer because you overlooked a Mario Benavente Atisha Waddell, you overlooked Anali Smith Harris, you overlooked a John Ashford, you overlooked a Clifton, y'all, and listen, and I'm telling you, and y'all turned your eyes straight to the two most visible people who are the two that you should have been saying, we need a break from y'all. But it's okay. It's okay. Let me tell you why it's okay. Because y'all you gonna learn today. So let me tell you what else is going on, Mr. Floyd.
Let me ask you another
The
question for you.
Go ahead,
Let
go
me ask you.
ahead.
I mean, we talked about the delivery. There's a
Yes.
black museum. I think I got the name. A
Let's see
museum.
if they get the money.
Let's see if they get some money from the General Assembly, and they talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of $175,000 to
They don't have a Vision
215 million.
2026 behind them. They don't have a Vision
Okay,
2026
so
behind them.
so my concern of it is, can the present members, and we said this on the last week, bring in any money or get a commitment from the city council and the county board of commissions to help fund this project in the tune of $15 million towards that, and for them to raise the hundred and I'm gonna say $60 million. And they talking about having this project off the ground. I think it's 28. I mean, I mean
And
now
it's a noble project. It's a noble project.
it's a good
But
project and it's an
let's
economic
see who they're
engine.
gonna go get the money from. Let's go see who has the because the council. I'm gonna say this
It ain't
again. The members of the council did not go get the money for these projects that you see that happen. The members of the council did not go get the money for the Parks and Rec bond. Ralph Huff and his agents, the people that were tied to them, those power players, lobbied and sent out mailers and did all the things for the Parks and Rec bond, not the city council. They just did the government part. The council did not, they were not the forethinkers when it came to getting the money together for the Civil War History and Reconstruction Center. You had what's his name? I like him
John
a lot.
Suffer.
No, the
John
dude,
Suffer.
the guy who, because that's another elected official. I'm talking about the people that are not elected. Us unelected people have way
We're
more
talking
influence
about
and power than
what, Healy, John
Healy,
Healy.
Mac
Okay.
Healy, and I like him a lot. I like Mac a lot. Mac, when it got that money, he knew who to talk to. He knew to press on. He stayed on it. They put together committees. The community did this. Community. I wish sometimes that I cuss because I want to say some cusses to make this strong. I want to
Well,
cuss like that girl did down at the Board of Elections. Y'all,
that's a
y'all need to
different story,
wake
Creed.
up.
That's a
Y'all got
different
to wake
story,
up.
Creed.
You have the power. And when you got a woman like me sitting saying, hey, send me to, I'm about to tell you, Angela, I'm getting ready to tell you. When you have a woman saying, send me to City Hall, because I'm going to give you the power back. This is what I'm talking about. I'm going to go in the rooms and come and tell you how it's moving so that you can organize and support the counter movement if one is necessary. Angela asked the question, how does the community push back against Ralph Huff? You don't have to push back against Ralph Huff. Ralph Huff is not the enemy. Ralph Huff can be an ally, but you have to understand the way that you make allies of people that are working their lane is you figure out what it is that they have, what it is that you need, and that you can give them or that they can give you. And then you learn how to collaborate
Well,
on stuff. Ralph Huff ain't the enemy. He's an ally if we knew
well,
how to use him as one. The
politics
council
is
is the
one
enemy
thing.
because they don't require nothing.
Keith, I'm gonna say this to
Mm-hmm.
you as a politician, and the reason why my party did not like me, still today don't
Okay.
like me.
And I'm going to be quiet and
Politics is
listen.
one word. Politics is one word. Negotiation. That's what politics is. So why should I give away everything? My car, yeah, I give you my car, and I stand on the corner and catch public transit. Does it make sense, Madam Wadi?
Mm-mm. And
Hmm.
when I went and talked to Ralph Huff, because that was my question, Angela. And again, I don't have a problem with Ralph Huff or any of the other people on Vision 2026. I have a problem with the rest of the community who doesn't understand that's how you get stuff done. That's who
Yeah.
I have a problem with because Ralph Huff has just, if you go down by Operation Inasmuch, they're breaking ground on homeless housing. I'm not mad at Ralph Huff. They're investing money into the arts for our children. I'm not mad at Ralph Huff. I don't have an issue with how Vision 2026 did their job. They did what they were supposed to do. They understood the assignment. We're the foolish ones who think we just
Oh,
need to elect people and ask them, what's your plan? And wait on them to execute their
let me
plan.
ask you a
Ralph Huff
question.
and them never asked the
Let me ask you
council,
a question.
what's your plan? They told them the plan. Go
How
ahead,
you
Floyd.
going up by how you going up by Highland Presbyterian Church? There's a building to your
Yes.
left there.
Yes.
There's a building to your left
I'm
there.
sorry if I'm yelling, y'all, but I'm so excited. I'm just so
Okay.
excited today.
There's a building to your left. There.
Yeah.
Now, now look at where it is located at, and they're gonna spend over $10 million in renovating, and
Yeah.
most of that money come from journalists contribution.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Negotiation. So those
You got,
person and now when Kurt was in the Senate, I'm sorry, Commissioner Javier was in the Senate, he was able to package some of that money to help build that project. So
yeah.
what I'm saying, we elect people who don't want to use the lever of negotiation. That's what we do. We are so happy to say that
Because
we
when I
have.
went to Ralph's office, I asked him, "Excuse me, sir, let me ask you a question. Why is it that you are not all are not eager to develop along the Murchison Road corridor?" And he was very simple in his answer, and it made perfect sense to me because of the infrastructure. So guess what, Mr. Floyd? First of all, he talked about the fractured ownership, but that's an easy solution. So is the infrastructure. Why are we requiring, and I don't have a problem with this, put the infrastructure in for the developers. If the developers are going to come in and develop, why can't we lay sidewalks? Why can't we? If that will encourage development, if we need to run water, why are we fighting about the small things if we could stop making that face, Mr. Floyd?
Well, I mean, let me say this to you, T. There is water, there is
Yes,
sewer,
yes,
there is electrical
yes.
services running down
But that's
Murchison
not the
Road.
only thing we're talking about when we talk infrastructure. If you think about down, and I'm not talking about on the end by FSU. I'm not talking about that end. I'm talking about because my district was District 3. FSU wasn't in my district.
Well,
And when I was in office, I
you
fought
all
for my
did that.
people.
You all
Shaw
did
Heights.
that by
Think about Shaw
creating.
Heights.
You all created that donut hole. You all, as a
But when you
council,
go and ask,
as a as a council, you all created that donut hole because you did not want to
I
have it
wasn't
in the
there.
city because it
I
was a
wasn't
low
there.
income area. Now that area is going to mushroom and going to grow, and the city is going to provide the services and not going to collect a dime in
That's
taxes.
right.
Okay.
Let me say it again. These developers are not our enemy. The enemy is these short-sighted politicians that you put in place who think that somebody writing them a check is the be all end all and that it means I owe you my life because you wrote me a check.
Well, it's
Mr.
not. I
Floyd,
mean,
let's
I
talk.
don't see it changing. I don't see it changing because
No, but our
if
people
you
gonna
look
know
at
what it is.
no, but you look at
Our
it. See, we don't have. Let me say this. I know you want to move on. The
mm-hmm,
only
mm-hmm.
the only organization, and I'm using organization that catches our people attention is PwC because they have a base of about 80 plus thousand people that utilize their service. They don't concern about city view. They're not concerned about what's in the Fayetteville Observer. They're not concerned about that.
They not
They're
watching Up Zone. Yeah.
no, they're not concerned about that. They just concerned about how well I like that dog, whoever that dog may be. And I'm just saying, wait a minute now. I know you want to move
Yeah,
on.
though, yeah, you
Not the
taking us
young
back to the
lady.
Board of Elections.
Okay, go on. I'm sorry to use that dog. I mean, but anyway, that
Oh,
was that was a. I mean, I didn't know that young lady could use such professional language in my
baby, look, I'm
I
telling you
didn't know
today, I wish I could sit her beside me and say that word you said.
that. But
Okay, so Mr. Floyd,
let's
let me clear up something else too, because it came to my attention that we can say again, I'm gonna say names now. So we had somebody who was just on a campaign, just trying to spread false information because they were mad at their party. And I'm not gonna get all into that because I don't care anything about any of that. I'm a balanced person. I will always be a balanced person. Just as I just sat here and told y'all, Mitch is your better choice out of the two that you have right now. Even though I don't like Mitch and I don't respect Mitch, I can still tell you if you're going to vote, that's probably your better choice of the two. I can, just the same way I can do that, I can tell you this. It was brought to my attention that I'm gonna make it light for a moment. That what's his name? Freddie De La Cruz said that the IAC, the Independent Conservative Alliance, told me to wear pink. Mr. Floyd, I need for you to know that my pictures had already been done before the IAC ever met with me. I already had that pink suit hanging in my closet before they ever talked to me. They didn't have to tell me anything. I am a brand development specialist. I know how to garner attention for a business. Running an election
T,
is a business. I was in my lane. All of my materials
T,
were
let's move on because I like Freddie. I like Freddie, but I think Freddie is a
it's a
good person.
non-factor.
No, I like Freddie. I think he's a very good person, but that environment that is surrounded by him is not very helpful to him. And can we move on? And I leave
Absolutely.
it
Let's
at that.
move on. I'm
I
leaving it
leave it
too,
at
but y'all already
that.
had my pink
That
suit. Ain't nobody
environment,
tell me what to do.
that environment that's coupled around him, it need to be, that's it is one of his pitfalls.
Uncle Floyd, you said let's move on. Let's move on.
Okay. Mhm.
We going somewhere good now. So if you've stuck with us this far, hopefully you will enjoy what I'm getting ready to share next. So we talk about beneficial relationships. Let's talk about some that don't necessarily benefit us at all, okay? Now, Mr. Floyd, one of the allegations that I made in my resignation letter was that there appeared to be an unethical relationship between the mayor's business attorney and the city council. So the mayor's business attorney is R. Johnathan Charleston, attorney R. Johnathan Charleston of the Charleston Group. And I articulated that the overlap was suspicious to me in some of the things that I saw, and that the methods of communication that he deployed raised some red flags for me while I was on council. I used as an example dismissed charities and the fact that we were serving as a quasi judicial function when we were hearing that case, and we were not permitted to talk to anybody about the case prior to hearing the evidence in the open, right? And I pointed to how he was emailing members of council and also allegedly texting them and talking to them about this case. So when I pointed to all of that, my doing so was intended to demonstrate that something wasn't right in the milk or right in the water or whatever. Well, Mr. Floyd, this appears to be now substantiated in a different way. So, Mr. Floyd, we talked a while ago about a complaint that had been leveraged, and the complaint, I'm looking for I want to show y'all, because y'all know how people be like, I'm a sue. I want to make sure that I give you factual information so that there's no confusion. So, Mr. Floyd, there's a complaint that has been leveraged or was leveraged to the North Carolina Bar Association. Here is the complaint, and this is against the mayor's business attorney, who also serves as the bond counsel for PwC, who serves as the bond counsel for the city of Fayetteville, who also served as the city attorney for Spring Lake, who also served as an attorney for East Point. And where was East Point located, Mr. Floyd?
I think they covered the eastern part of North Carolina. That was headquarters,
Okay.
I believe.
And a whole lot of other, he was or still is the attorney for the Housing Authority. Is that right? Housing Authority. Yeah.
Yes, Fayetteville House Authority.
Fayetteville Housing Authority. Deep ties to political organizations, governmental organizations. So the allegation against him, and this is from ncbar.gov, that Johnathan Charleston was alleged, it is alleged that Johnathan Charleston of Fayetteville engaged in improper ex parte communications with a Superior Court judge and did not disclose material information to the court during those communications. The DHC case is stayed, which meant that it was on pause. And this is from a while ago. He appealed, it was denied, and they were working on scheduling to move the case forward. Can you see, did my screen change just now? Can you see my new screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it has now been completed, and he has been censured. So Johnathan Charleston of Fayetteville was shown to have engaged in improper ex parte communications with the Superior Court judge. He did not notify opposing counsel of his ex parte communications and did not disclose material information to the court during those communications. He was censored by the DHC. Mr. Floyd, let's talk about what this means, because this might sound small, especially given what government censors look like, right? Government censors usually are just a slap on the hand and they don't mean anything. Let's talk about what a censor means in the case of something like an attorney, right?
Well,
Floyd, do you know anything about that, or do you just want me to get to it?
no, no, let's get to it because, what they look at from a legal standpoint of view is
It's
to
vastly
make
different.
sure, is to make sure that everyone has a fair opportunity as it relates to the administration of justice. That both
Absolutely.
sides
And
have the same information as the case move forward.
and there
And
are
that's critical
rules.
for them.
There are rules that govern how things are handled. So summaries of disciplinary orders. No, I'm gonna just go straight into. So a censure, for the purpose of this legal conversation, is a public statement of disapproval issued when an attorney has violated one or more rules of professional conduct, but the violation is not severe enough to warrant suspension or disbarment. It is more serious than a private reprimand, but less serious than a suspension. So essentially, it becomes a matter of public record, which means that the censure becomes part of the attorney's permanent public disciplinary record on the North Carolina State Bar website, and may be published in official bar reports or journals. There is no loss of license, so the attorney remains licensed to practice law and may continue representing clients. However, the censure signals to the public and the profession. However, the censure signals to the public and the profession that the lawyer's conduct was unethical or improper. Mr. Floyd, this is what I've been saying all along. There are professional consequences. It may affect their reputation, client trust, or future employment. It must be disclosed on certain applications, such as judicial appointments, government positions, or bar renewals in other states. And it can be considered an aggravating factor if the attorney is disciplined again in the future. It is issued by the Disciplinary Hearing Commission, or the DHC, after finding that the attorney violated professional rules. There's a hierarchy to North Carolina bar discipline. This is from least severe to most severe. There are 6 levels to this hierarchy: letter of warning, admonition, reprimand, censure, suspension, disbarment. Censure is the 4th, with the only 2 remaining being suspension or disbarment. This is serious. This is serious.
It's
This is
serious, Chief,
not. Go ahead.
but it's serious. But when you look at one of the attorney's strongest areas, that's public, as it relates to public service, and he's a very strong zoning attorney. So the question of it is going forward with the new counsel, will that have an effect on his appearance before the council as he has done in the past as it relates to zoning enforcement, which
So
he
if
has
you will
been very
permit me,
successful.
just 2 more minutes, Mr. Floyd, I want to make sure that we drive this point home, because I need people to know that this is not just me saying something's wrong. This is a documented scenario. Here's kind of a concise, I guess for lack of a better term, theory of what you could possibly infer based upon his patterns. Okay. So when you go and you look and see how ingrained into exactly what you just said, into governmental affairs, his law firm is, you recognize that he has a deep municipal agency footprint. Johnathan Charleston and his firm repeatedly appear in local government roles: Spring of Town Lake, FMHA, Council for HUD Link Related Development, City of Fayetteville's Bond Council. This suggests a sustained strategy in public sector and public finance engagements. He left the town of Spring Lake when they got into their audit troubles. He was their attorney, the town attorney. And when they started getting into their audit situations, he resigned. There's a prominent relationship that he has that intersects with politics. He had somebody from his law firm, Steve Benjamin, who I also noted in my resignation letter, because Steve Benjamin was directly tied into the conversation regarding Bernhard Capital, which was the lease of our public utility. Steve Benjamin was appointed to a White House position under the Biden administration. He's an attorney now. He used to be the mayor of Charleston, South Carolina, somewhere, Columbia.
Yes, Columbia, South Carolina. But that's
He
where
was
Jim Clyburn is.
correct. And I'm not saying that this was because of Johnathan Charleston, but I just want you to see these ties.
Jim Clyburn.
He was appointed to a White House position, which underscores again the political government adjacency with Charleston's firm's brand. It doesn't imply misconduct. It just implies access and visibility in governmental spheres that overlap with the firm's client base. This discipline for ex parte communication, against the backdrop of the censure for this improper ex parte communications, it introduces a counter pattern, which is a judicial ethics boundary issue in exactly the forums, courts, public bodies, where his firm often practices. So this is no longer conjecture. I'm not conjecturing anymore. This is proven. Why this matters: a judge on a pending matter without opposing counsel is ex parte communications with the judge on a pending matter without opposing counsel and with material non-disclosure is serious, because it can compromise fairness and the appearance of impartiality. Y'all, this is what we've been talking about all along. Think 7-Eleven, think dismiss charities. The State Bar summary makes those elements explicit in Charleston's case and shows why courts treat it as a bright line concern. When a lawyer frequently appears before public boards and courts on municipal finance, housing and redevelopment, zoning, and even the appearance of back channeling, that when he appears for those types of things, even the appearance of back channeling can undermine community trust. Come on, somebody. The DHC's censure is therefore noticeable in a practice built on government work. If nothing else, Mr. Floyd, if nothing else, this should give you guys some serious insight into the fact that, one, I'm not crazy and I'm not just talking just to be talking. And two, we have a problem.
Well, I know we have just 1 minute or 2 minutes.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
But there was also some communication in Hope Mill where this
somebody else was censored.
Yes, where the town of Hope Mill took it serious.
That's
and
right.
They hired a lawyer out of Charlotte at $450 an hour to review. Okay. $450 an hour. That's how the city of Hope Mill took the allegation that was brought forth, that they had an attorney out of Charlotte to look at the allegation that was brought to them. So I'm just saying to you, it's a serious matter.
It's a very serious matter. Mr. Floyd, Pamela said our show needs to be extended today. We'll be back next week. And I'm telling you, like, I'm not going to spend every week won't be this good probably, because this was pent up, but it will always be informative.
But I just simply want to say that the early voting starts with October 16th, and the election.
Yeah. Look, I don't know, because I don't care anymore.
No, election is November the 4th.
The 4th.
So, look at those persons that are running. Please
Very much
Go, if
so.
they have a website, look at the background information and see if it's what you want in a candidate. Just
Very
don't
much
sit on
so.
the sideline and complain and don't vote.
Very much so.
Because we have 130,000 people don't vote and less than about 14,000 vote. So
Yeah.
you get
And
what
I'll say this,
you
and I
take
do
what you
care.
get.
I care deeply. Yeah, I care deeply. And I hope that they will not be offended by me saying this. But I certainly hope that Sean McMillan is elected. I certainly hope that Kathy Griggs is elected. Those are the two that I'm going to stop at right now.
Well,
I certainly hope that the two of
I,
them are elected.
I just wish all the candidates the best. But please
No, that's good for
remember,
you. But I'm rooting
no,
for them because I
no,
feel like they'll stand in the
no.
gap for the citizens of this community. Yeah.
What my concern for each person that run for office, please remember, and this is what many people at the state level don't realize. The governor did not elect you. Your first responsibility is to your district. Then
Yeah.
your second responsibility is to the city as a whole.
Yes.
Okay. But so many times that people get to the point that, I got to look at the city first. Yes, but the city didn't elect me, my district. And what they are doing, they're asking you, like you just mentioned, in my absence, please, please.
Oh yeah, and Antonio Jones. I forgot to mention him too. And Antonio Jones.
Okay,
Those are the three that I'm pushing for. I'm sorry, Floyd. Go ahead. Please
that's
what?
okay. That's okay. But I just hope that they look at the candidates and see who can be Amazon, Federal Express, UPS, and the snail carrier.
Yeah. But
The
you gotta
post office.
order something. You gotta order something. So don't just expect us to know what you want and deliver you a package. Tell us what you want and not us because I ain't going, but tell them what you want.
And remember now
And
what they
make it
ask you
happen.
now.
Yes, I
We
like James
provide
Thomas for
free.
D1 too. Yes.
Yeah, we can provide free delivery, but you can get a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, or a week. Have a good weekend, man.
And Mr. Floyd, what would you like to leave our people with today?
I'm not gonna leave it because there was a saying last Monday about my dog. So have a wonderful week. As I said,
And I'm gonna just tell y'all, I know what I'm talking about. Y'all might not like what I'm saying, but I know what I'm talking about, and I'm telling you, something is getting ready to come down the pipeline. I hope that you all have enjoyed this podcast today. I will tell you, as I always say, there is no justice apart from righteousness, and righteousness demands truth. There is no justice apart from righteousness, and righteousness demands truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. We've told you what it is today. Do what you do. Like, share, subscribe, follow, tell a friend to tell a friend. And Mr. Floyd, I am going to really work on not interrupting, but thank you for your grace today because I'm just full. So thank you
huh?
for your grace today.
Well, because I still want to know what your future lies. You have a good weekend.
Oh, what are we doing? We said we're going to announce today at the recommendation of the people of this community and of my team, we will be putting together an exploratory committee to determine what is next. And I'll say this because I think
Next for
that
what?
more
Next for you or for me?
for us. No, certainly for Tisha S. Waddell as a
Okay.
candidate. We just want to
Okay.
figure out what's what. So we'll see what's next in store. I love you, Mr. Floyd. I love you, City of Fayetteville. I love all of y'all. Mr. Floyd, hug your wife for me today and tell her I said hey. And listen, y'all, be kind or be quiet. Have a great day.